welcome to another brand new episode of Dingers and Stingers, the podcast that's a little later is going to find out what AI Colin Coward is. I never heard about it until I saw it on our setup for today, so I'm excited to learn about what it is and how it makes me angry. I'm Dallas,
It's
that's
not,
Drew.
you
Okay,
can pretty much fathom what AI content is. Like,
I
it's
want to
not a
be,
mystery.
I don't have reading comprehension. I have no idea what you mean. Um, again, I am Dallas, that's Drew, and that's Matt, and this is our NFL episode for this week. On today's show, we are going to talk about free agency trade season wave two. Last week on our episode, we talked all about wave one and the craziness that was wave one of free agency. If you missed that, go back and catch our takes there. But we are happy to talk about some very interesting moves that came in Wave 2 this week. So, let's just get started here with the biggie, the big one. And it happens to involve a team who is a favorite of one of the hosts of this show, the Dolphins. Traded wide receiver Jalen Waddle to the Denver Broncos, Drew's Denver Broncos, in a jaw dropper. The return is a 2026 first round, third round, and fourth round pick. So this trade's big. It's good stuff. It's another it's a great trade to have in wave two because it keeps the hype going after sort of wave one dies down a little bit. So let's talk about this trade from both sides. First up, how much does this improve the Broncos offense? Let's talk about the impact it will have for them.
It's huge for the Broncos offense. First of all, I want to slightly correct the trade return
Oh
because
yeah.
it was there was a pick swap in there, so it was
Mm.
really a first and a third for Jalen Waddle, and then we swapped fourths, something like that. But regardless, going into this offseason, the clear need was more consistent weapons for Bo Nix, because this team was good last year, and you could see that it was lacking a true number one wide receiver. And there was deadline rumors about Jalen Waddle, which I thought would have been cool, but who knows what the asking price was. This is great. We a few weeks ago kind of broke down the top tier of free agent wide receivers. And I would honestly take Jalen Waddle over any of those guys right now that we discussed. So to me, I'm thrilled with it. It gives us that true number one. We got J.K. Dobbins back on a free agent deal. I'm sure that got brought up at least in a comment last week. So, given health, which is always what you have to consider, this is now an offense that you can really, really see taking off. It's all going to come down to Bo Nix. There's no more excuses for him, I think, at this point. He has everything he needs. We'll see what it means for the domino effect of our wide receiver room. You figure someone's got to go now. Maybe it's Courtland Sutton because he's more expensive. He's a little older. Maybe it's just one of those lower tier guys who's younger. I don't know. We'll see. But any way you slice it, this gives us that true number one threat that we've been missing, and I think it's going to be a great fit in Denver. And I'm not concerned about giving up a first round pick that's 30th overall. That doesn't really move me. I think it was definitely worth it.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat as you. I think, especially when it comes to late first round picks, the hit rate isn't that significantly different than second and third round picks when it comes to the end of the first. And so at that point, unless you're just really hung up on getting that fifth year option on a young guy, uh, it's worth it, right? And I maybe come from a team with a little bit of a perspective bias on using picks to get better. Um, Use your picks, get better. Like you are so close to being in the Super Bowl. We pretty much know what would have happened had you gotten there, but this team is an explosive player away on offense from being one of the most well-rounded teams in all of football. Their offensive line last year was really good, and I foresee them being good again. For the past few years, this has been one of the best defenses in football. And Cortland Sutton is great at a very specific skill set, but you guys have not had that true field stretching, home run hitting player. And, I think a lot of people thought maybe that'd be Marvin Mims. I think maybe people thought that would be RJ Harvey. I think maybe people even bought in a little bit to like maybe that connection from college would be Troy Franklin and he could turn into a big play guy. And while Marvin Mims, Troy Franklin, RJ Harvey all show like flashes and potential, Jalen Waddle is like a proven like he's that dude. Um, and so I think it's very telling too. Like this is very out of the Sean Payton wheelhouse. He is not someone to pay big, big stuff like that. He doesn't trade first round picks for players like one for one like this. He's it's just not how he really operates. So I think it's cool that he's gone out of his way to improve this team and said, like screw tradition, screw my tendencies, like let's do this. We were close.
Yeah, and it's the field stretching ability for Jalen Waddle that makes him so valuable, I think, to the Broncos because coming from someone whose team, the Seahawks, added a field stretcher that teams have to respect as a deep threat in Rashid Shaheed last year, it helps everything. It doesn't just help the other receivers. It doesn't just help the offense, be more explosive. The run game benefits from that because teams have to take players out of, off the line, out of the middle of the field to put them back there to guard against what Jalen Waddle can do. And that helps the run game be better. It helped the Seahawks run game be better. You look at the numbers at before and after Rashid Shaheed, the run game got a ton better when he showed up because defenses had to respect the fact that if he was open down there, they were going to throw to him. And so I think that's, what's the most valuable thing for the Broncos here is they have somebody now who makes their entire offense a little bit scarier and opens things up for not only the passing game, but for everything. So go to the other side now. We knew that Miami, once the offseason rumors began, we knew that they were a candidate for tearing things down. Well, they've torn it down. And my question is, have they gone too far with the teardown? Like, there's almost nobody here anymore who was on the team in previous iterations, especially from a star perspective. And so, have they gone too far? Or is this the kind of bottoming out that you need to do in order to get to a new place?
I think that when it comes to tearing down a roster, it's a very delicate line you have to look at of how many pieces away truly are you from being a not just like playoff team or like competitive team, but like how many pieces away do you think you are from being a Super Bowl contending team, of having Super Bowl aspirations? Um, After Tyreek's gone, after like every defensive player for this team left, after multiple offensive linemen left, I assume Darren Waller's not coming back. Um, it feels like they are quite a large number of players away, and they've already entered the second contract of Jalen Waddle. It's not like that's still on the horizon. They're in it. And so for them, do I think that it's gone too far? No. To be honest, I don't. I think that maybe Malik Willis, uh, hopefully was told that this was a possibility when he decided to sign there. But at the same time, they signed him to a 3-year deal, so there is a little bit of that, like, well, I think they're hoping to see kind of a window of years, not just like a 1-year prove it deal, for him. And so no, I don't think that they've torn it down too far. I think this gives them a lot of opportunity. It gives them a lot of flexibility with this draft. I mean, there are three kind of, you could call them blue chip or at least borderline blue chip receivers in this draft. Like you could take your pick of your type of receiver that you like with Makai Lemon, Carnell Tate, and well, I'm forgetting Jordan Tyson from Arizona. Take your pick with what type of receiver you like, and he's pretty much there for you with that first Dolphins pick. And now you have a pick at the end of the draft to kind of take a best player available, fill in some of the holes in this roster. Or you could trade back and really load up on the 2027 draft, which people are kind of pining over at this point. So I think it gives them a lot of flexibility. They also have like $160 million this season in dead cap. Um, they are spending more in dead cap than like most teams will over the next few years combined. And so I think that they really said we are so hamstrung in the next year or so by these transactions, but we needed to clear the books to kind of give the roster the chance to breathe and reset. Because we've seen teams like the Saints who have to go through these long stretches of mediocrity and honestly poor play because they are so strapped by the salary cap. And so I like this move by Miami. I think that it expedites the rebuild, even if it makes the rebuild feel worse in the moment.
Yeah, it's that situation where it's like there's a smart football move, and then there's like a move that makes you sad as a fan, and sometimes that's the same move, you know? Like if you're a Dolphins fan, like that's probably a bummer. Like this is not a fun time to be a Dolphins fan. But you hope that it's the first step towards, greener pastures. Obviously they're shaking things up, they're changing everything around, new coach, uh, new quarterback, and now it's going to be new wide receivers, and we'll see, exactly how long that path takes. I don't expect them to be very good this year, but hey, like a first round pick, like now you have two of those. That's not nothing. That's a step towards rebuilding and truly becoming the team you want to be. But it's going to be an uphill climb, like you said, with like the dead cap money and all that. They went all in for a while and it just didn't pan out, and now it's time to reap what you've sowed.
Yeah, and let me just add a final note. Tutu Atwell, wide receiver one season is incoming because they genuinely have no one else to throw to, and my guy just walked into a golden opportunity.
Yeah. Yeah, you might have. Like, this is one of those things that could end up being huge for him because this season it's all down to him over there right now in the wide receiver game. In that case. But totally. So one guy who doesn't really have to worry too much, hopefully, about having too much pressure on him or it being down to him is Justin Fields this year round because the Jets have traded him to the Kansas City Chiefs, where he will serve as the backup quarterback over there. In return, the Jets received a 2027 sixth round pick. So Justin Fields to the Chiefs is the next move we're going to be talking about here. So let's look at it, again, from both sides here. So first up, how do you like this as a rehab opportunity for Justin Fields?
I think that this is a great spot for him. I mean, we always say like all these guys need to that struggle to kind of make their way into the NFL as top talents. They need to take these years. Sam kind of set this precedent, but so did Baker. So did Teddy Bridgewater. Kind of OG did this, and you got to take your time to actually like acclimate and learn the NFL and learn from an organization, a coach, a system that teaches you the right way to play the game. I'm not going to say that the Chiefs are the most ethical offensive place for a quarterback, but at the same time, there's nothing more unethical than playing for the Matt Eberflus or Matt Nagy Bears or the Jets for that matter. Like, I think, or the Steelers, like, he's just had such a bad stretch of teams and offensive coaches where this can't be anything but better for him. And the opportunity, if Patrick Mahomes is able to recover from that knee injury and be back to starting week one, the opportunity that Justin Fields has to potentially and hopefully sit for an entire year before finding an opportunity next year, um, I think bodes really well in his favor. I think that this is a great opportunity for him to kind of get the mental right.
I think it's a great fit both sides. I agree with
Mhm.
everything you said about Justin Fields. Like, I think the starting job for him is just not there this year, anywhere in the NFL. Like, I think it teams had finally given up on that for now. But I think, yeah, we've absolutely seen this trend in recent years where a guy was a top pick, never quite panned out, maybe bounced around a little bit, and then became a backup for a few years, a couple years, what have you, and then next thing you know, they're starting important games for a good team. Geno Smith is another name that I think fits that mold. Um, and I think, we're a podcast that has believed in Justin Fields' ability as a quarterback, and it just, we haven't fully seen it pan out. Um, and so, yeah, I think this is a great spot for him to rebuild value. And I think it's a great, like, for the Chiefs, I think this is a good move too, because, obviously any team with a quarterback that you trust, if they go down, that's bad news. The Chiefs maybe more than most because Patrick Mahomes is Patrick Mahomes. Um, and obviously they didn't have a great year last year. I still believe in the Chiefs, like as an organization. I think they'll figure it out. And like if Patrick Mahomes isn't quite ready to start the season, or if he gets injured again, or if he has to miss one game because he has a concussion, like what have you, I really like Justin Fields' chances in this offense. Like if they build it up, they have Kenneth Walker over there now. Andy Reid is still a guy that I like running an offense. Like I think you plug and play Justin Fields for a couple games throughout the season. Like I don't know if the Chiefs are going to be missing that much. Like I know Mahomes has that X factor that can come down in crunch time, but like if they're playing regular teams, like Justin Fields can win football games for them. I'm pretty sure. So um, I like it for the Chiefs. I like it for Justin Fields. I think it's just a matter of time before he gets another shot as a starter, and I think this is the first step towards rebuilding his image.
Yeah, for sure. No doubt it's a good opportunity for him. Opportunity knocks again, potentially, for Geno Smith in New York with the Jets. So it might have been assumed when they acquired him, after he unceremoniously left his time with the Raiders, it might have been assumed, even though Justin Fields was there, that Geno Smith would start for the Jets. But now, I think, does this mean it's officially Geno Smith time in New York once again?
Dude, I think I don't know, dude. Like, that's such a crazy place to be as a team. I'm like, at this point, why not go full meme squad and bring back Aaron Rodgers, sign Russell Wilson, and just make this the most toxic, weirdest quarterback room truly we've ever seen? I mean, that would outdo the Giants quarterback room of last year. Like, those three together, why not put them all three on the field at the same time? Like, this Jets team is just such a joke. I'm sorry. Like, I don't mean to disrespect Geno Smith because I really do respect what he did to kind of revive his career. But like, what are we doing for the Jets here? Like, not only are they bringing back the guy who they already like screwed over at the beginning of his career, this is not a team that needs to be giving up draft picks and trading for a guy on a contract they don't get to set. Like this is not a team that needs to be giving up assets and acquiring uncontrollable contract numbers to do what? To lift their floor up to 3 games instead of two? Like to lift their floor up 1 game maybe? Like I don't see the benefit of this. I genuinely believe like going out and signing someone like Russell Wilson to a veteran minimum, you get to keep your pick. You also get a quarterback who's going to do almost the same amount. I mean, dude, go sign one of the many backups in the leagues right now. Like, if you're going to make a trade, at least trade for someone who has high potential at this point in their career. Go trade for Anthony Richardson. Like, he's already said he wants out. They're committing to Daniel Jones in Indianapolis. Like I can't fathom this. And I know this is not answering the question of is it officially Geno Smith time? The answer to that question is I don't want to know if it is. Like I at least want them to keep some mysterious aura about them of like, well, maybe someone else will come out of the shadows to play quarterback for the Jets. Because if they commit to Geno Smith on March 19th, 2026, before the season, I'm out on the Jets like indefinitely.
Yeah, I mean the answer to your question, Dallas, you said is it Geno Smith time? I guess. Like that's they traded for him, so like I guess so. I think the only reason this makes sense is if it's like part of a long-term master plan to get, like the cycle of your quarterbacks back and then Sam Darnold is next. Um, that's But I mean, in general, the Jets are the Jets. I'm not gonna spend too much brain power trying to analyze what they do because they're foolish. I mean, like
This is the March for Arch.
just just trading away Justin Fields and then trading for Geno Smith, like I would have just kept Justin Fields. Like I don't like I don't I personally don't get it. But I think that's the beauty of art. Like the Jets are basically a piece of performance art, and it's like you don't have to understand it to be moved by it. And the Jets are very moving.
They are moving. They are a team who you look at them and they make you feel very strong emotions when you watch them play football or when you
Can't
watch them try
imagine
to.
being a Jets fan. Like that's
It would
just
be terrible. It
the
would be
worst
terrible.
the worst fate of sports, maybe. Like
Shout out that one kid who's just like, I hate
Right,
this team.
right, right. Yeah, that kid, he'll live in our minds forever, I think. But you know, if it's Geno Smith time with the Jets again, it's funny and I'll be happy
What, you're gonna
to
be tuned in?
I'll be happy to see how it goes when they cut to them on red zone for like 5 minutes a week. I'll be happy to see how it's going.
First time they've been in the red zone today. It's the fourth quarter.
Yeah, it's going to be tough. Um, but yeah, okay. So let's talk about our next move that we want to bring up here. This is for a wide receiver. So wide receiver, God, I can't even like. It's Christian Kirk. I know that's his real name, but I keep feeling like I'm gonna say the wrong thing. Um, Christian Kirk, that's his name. He's the wide receiver. He signed with the 49ers. I really freaked out there for a second. I really thought I had written that. Okay, so uh, he signed with the 49ers. He's on San Francisco now. 1 year, 6 million. Nice little, uh, you know, come on over and try to help us out a little bit deal. So the Niners, they have a wide receiver room that's a little here, there, and everywhere. So what do we make of that wide receiver room as it stands right now? We got Ricky Pearsall, Christian Kirk, we got
Some other guys.
now Mike Evans as well in there. And so what do we think? Where are they at as of today, this wide receiver?
I, I saw a tweet actually earlier today of some guy who was like, Bosa's about to see that locker right next to his that says "See Kirk" and break down. But I mean, this wide receiver room, I think if you're just looking at the names and the talent, you're like, hey, this could be something. Like this could be one of the better receiver rooms that we've had in San Francisco in a minute. Um, I think across the board, if you're talking about like quality player meets like proven production, it's almost across the board better, right? Ricky Pearsall is still this young up and coming guy. Mike Evans is better if you're just trying to go across the board than say Brandon Ayuk. I think as a career, Christian Kirk's probably had a better career than Debo Samuel in terms of his career production. And yet I look at this and I'm like, you've got three dudes who are never not suffering from like soft tissue injuries. And you have got a bloodthirsty substation power plant right next to that practice field. And I don't trust for a single second that Christian Kirk, Mike Evans, and Ricky Pearsall are going to have a healthy 16 games each. Like, like I don't see that for any of them. I
Also, the
hope that,
49ers.
right. It's also the 49ers who famously have trainers who don't know what injuries actually are. Like, they're sending players back out with torn ligaments, being like, "You're good. Rub some dirt in it." Like, I don't see them making it through a season. I hope they do, not because I like the Niners, but because I hate injuries. But like, I don't know. I'm not as moved by this receiver room as I think it should be, right? As much as I should be. Just because I just think the injuries are gonna catch up to them.
Yeah. I kind of think like if to do the positive spin on it, um I think there's been issues in that 49ers receiver room in terms of like off the field stuff where, guys are holding out or like
Getting
um
shot.
well,
Sorry,
I don't like I don't that's a separate conversation. That guy's still on the team. But like Brandon Ayuk,
see
whatever
Kirk.
antics he was up to, um Debo Samuel like, basically forced his way out. Like I agree with all the injury concern, but like Mike Evans and Christian Kirk are a couple guys who like haven't had that reputation of being like, quote unquote prima donnas or anything like that. And so I like the shift in that direction. And if they are all on the field, like it's definitely a solid room. But I agree, it's like how much can you actually count on that? And you two both got your jokes off, so I'm gonna get mine off too. Like I know they play in Santa Clara, but like I don't know how accepting San Francisco is gonna be of a C Kirk. Like that's not really their vibe out there.
Not their
So
vibe. That's not their vibe. The jerseys might not sell. I'll tell you that. The jersey might be a hard sell to 49er fans because of having to wear that around. But yeah, I think, with the Niners, like the wide receivers have been such a like what's the word? Like a
Problem.
third feature of this offense as well. Like you have George Kittle and Christian McCaffrey, and players like that at the top of this thing, where those kind of are the guys the offense runs through a little bit, and it kind of has been that way for a while now. And the wide receiver has just been one of those things. Brandon Ayuk was really good when he was on the field and playing well and all that and happy. And Debo Samuel had a good role over there. He contributed a good thing, but wide receivers have never been the focus here, and I think that's going to maybe continue this year. But they kind of bring in some guys who, even though they might not be the focus, can pull attention at least. Not that Jawan Jennings or whoever else they were running out there last year can't pull some attention, but speaking as somebody who plays against the Niners twice a year, I'm a little bit more wary of Ricky Pearsall, Mike Evans, and Christian Kirk than I was of the wide receiver core last year for sure. And so from that perspective, like you say, if they can all stay out there and if they can all be out there, yeah, I think they got a little better here. So it'll be interesting to see how they use those guys. And again, if they can stay healthy, it'll be interesting to see. Um, so let's stay on wide receiver subject here. Let's talk a little bit about a rumor that's out there. We're getting pretty strong indications that AJ Brown both wants out of Philadelphia and Philadelphia is trying to move him. Like it's the prevailing sentiment that he probably will be traded sometime before the beginning of the year, potentially before the draft. And so, you know, uh, that's the idea right now. And there are teams he's been linked to, namely the Patriots and the Rams. Like that, those are the couple of teams that you hear the most. Other teams have been in that mix a little bit as well. The Broncos were in there a little bit. Turns out maybe they weren't as interested. After once they got Jalen Waddle, it kind of came out that they weren't ever really that interested in AJ Brown. They were kind of going after another type of guy, but Um, Patriots and Rams, that's the teams you hear about most associated with AJ Brown. So, talking about this rumor here, where does AJ Brown fit best? Is it one of those two teams or is it somewhere else? Talk about let's talk a little bit about AJ Brown and where he might be headed.
Yeah, I think for me to answer this question, I need to pose one back to you first, Dallas. When you say fit best, do you mean purely like he's going to have the best statistical year, or where he makes a team that much better?
Yeah, so impact on the team. Yeah, impact on the team success. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So if we're talking impact on the team, I mean, between the two teams, it's the Patriots for sure. Like they are a team that is void of a number one receiver. They are a team that would greatly improve being able to give Drake May, who does have a lot of talent. Like he is a very talented guy, and giving him a receiver who can win not only in the short game but also down the field in the red zone, like that would just boost their offense by a billion. Like the impact he would have on that team, I think, would be like substantial. Whereas a team like the Rams, like it's crazy to say, but he would be coming in and playing second fiddle. Like he wouldn't be the guy, which obviously is a luxury all on its own. Um, but I think there's some other teams that I would love to see get into the mix for a guy like AJ Brown. And I'm going to shout out one who is not the Patriots, because at the end of the day, I'll answer your second question as well about if we do think he is going to get traded. I do. I do think that AJ Brown is done as an Eagle. I think that the Eagles are going to look at replacing him either through the draft or through a trade of their own. Um, or they could even go out and sign someone like Stephon Diggs to be a number two and let Devontae Smith kind of take over there in Philly. But I do think AJ Brown is done there. I would love to see a team like the Titans step into this conversation. Um, I know they are the team that traded him away. When they traded him away, they were able to get a first round pick plus some others, trading away AJ Brown while he was still on his rookie deal. Um, but I look at where they're at right now. Their offensive line isn't bad. It's not good, but it's not bad. And they are in a position where they have a very high pick in a draft that is, in my opinion, pretty top heavy on talent. Could we not see them give up the number 35 pick or whatever it is, 36 pick, and maybe another late round exchange or even on a restructured contract? Could they not give up that number 36 pick plus Calvin Ridley and give both those receivers a change of scenery and bring AJ Brown back to the Titans to be that number one receiver for Cam? Like I think that I don't know. I think that there's something to that I would love to see, and they need to get a number one offensive option there. Chimere DK and Alec Umanor were both like solid, kind of underrated rookie receivers. Chimere DK obviously led the league in scrimmage yards. Alec Umanor had like a very solid year for being, I think he was a fifth or sixth round pick out of Stanford, but neither of them look like true number one kind of X receivers, and that's what they wanted Calvin Ridley to be. And now there's rumors that they're looking to shop Calvin Ridley. They might even be willing to eat salary to get rid of him. And I just wonder, could this be a win-win for both teams where AJ Brown goes back to a situation with a young quarterback who is, no disrespect to Jalen Hurts, but is a much more prototypical passer and is able to uh, more accurately kind of dice up a field through the passing game. And then Calvin Ridley is a kind of one trick pony, right? He is a deep threat guy, and Jalen Hurts still's got the arm talent to put the ball out there. Um, and Devontae Smith works a lot in that short and intermediate. So I see that as being like this like dream scenario in my head. I doubt it happens. I think he ends up a Patriot at the end of the day. But that's my little ramble on where I would like to see him go.
Yeah, to go back to like the original question between Patriots and Rams, I agree with Matt. Like the Rams, I just don't feel like they need to give up what it would take to have him. Puka Nacua is better than AJ Brown. Um, like it's like I don't want to mess with a good thing. I know AJ Brown has been very, very good in his career, but he also is not without the locker room drama and things like that. Hence him being in trade rumors to begin with. Um, and I just don't think the Rams should risk that. But like interestingly, I kind of think the Patriots should, because he would be a clear number one guy in New England. Drake May, we saw throughout the regular season, like beautiful deep ball thrower. Like he has great touch on his passes. Like I think that could be a really good match. I think similar to the Broncos, like the Patriots actually went to the Super Bowl last year, but like otherwise very similar offseason so far. Like you have a very exciting year where you beat expectations, and then so far in free agency and such, like not a lot of movement, not a lot of excitement. And I think the Patriots clearly need a number one. It was Stephon Diggs for them last year. I think he wasn't really a true number one, and he's gone anyways. I think getting Drake May some help on offense is paramount, and there's not that many options out there, and this would be a home run for them. I think like I wouldn't worry too much about him being like concerned about how many touches he gets and things like that, because I think they would feed him the ball in New England. So I think that's a good fit. I didn't really go as far as Matt did in terms of like trying to think of other potential options for this. But I do think the Patriots make a lot of sense here, and I think they're in a position where they kind of have to do something like this. Like otherwise, like great season last year, you made it to the Super Bowl, congratulations. But like now you've got that first place schedule, and you did nothing to help Drake May. Like you got to do something to help Drake May.
For sure. This is one of those things that when you're thinking about it, seems like such a slam dunk that you feel like, why hasn't this happened already? Like this, AJ Brown wants out. Philadelphia wants to get rid of him because they don't like that kind of presence in the locker room of someone who doesn't want to be there. The Patriots desperately need somebody at the position, and they have what it takes to get him. Like it just, what the heck is going on? Why hasn't this happened yet? Is what you have to think. And so it's very head scratchy for me for like how the Patriots are letting this thing linger. And the longer it lingers, the more likely it may become for, if AJ Brown must go and the Rams are the only team willing to pay anything close to the price that it takes, it might end up that he just ends up there. And not that that would be a bad thing. For me, from a biased fan perspective, it would not be the best news I've ever heard. But like I would much prefer he go to New England. But I think from a perspective of like just yeah, for me, it feels like such a slam dunk that why hasn't it already happened if unless the Patriots are just completely unwilling to do it, and that makes me think that if the Rams end up being the only team who wants to do it, then that's who's going to get them. So it's very interesting to me to see who else, if anybody, jumps into this thing. Um,
Well, let
and
me let me
yeah,
dip my toe in the Rams conspiracy theory cup here for just 1 second. I didn't even realize the offensive coordinator for the Eagles when AJ Brown had his like 1,500 yard season, like his big dominant season for the Eagles, is now on the Rams offensive coaching staff. Like he was hired this year as a Rams coach, and he's responsible for play calling AJ Brown's, most productive season as an NFL player. And so there could be someone whispering in the ear of McVay and Snead, kind of saying, like, hey, we got a chance to do something that is historical at this point. Like if we were to keep all of them being Puka, AJ Brown, and Devontae, I've seen rumors out there that if the Rams traded for AJ Brown, there's a good chance we'd also trade Devontae. I don't know if I love that, but it's an interesting situation. I mean, we could be talking about maybe the greatest receiver trio in NFL history to play on the field at one point. Like, I don't know that I could name another trio as high end talented as those three would be. So I don't want that move, but I definitely see the writing on the wall a bit if it does end up coming through.
Yeah. Yeah. So, AJ Brown is very much out there right now. But let's talk about maybe some other people who are out there. So we've gone through the first wave of free agency and trades, and now we've gone through the second wave of free agency and trades. We still got about a month before the draft, so there's still some guys out there. So, is there anyone else interesting, any other players, free agent or trade rumors that you are curious, where they'll end up? Let's talk about who's still out there. What opportunities are out there for some teams to capitalize on in this after the first initial couple waves of free agency have passed.
Drew, I'm curious to see if you've got anybody because I have one that's a little out there, but I'm curious to see. I don't want to.
Well, I singled out one player that I was interested in his free agency, and that's David Njoku, tight end,
Mhm.
who he's been on the Browns the last few years, like solid production every year, not ever necessarily like top of the list in terms of tight ends, but like certainly someone you can count on in an offense. And I haven't done like all the research to see like what teams really desperately need a tight end. But I was just kind of looking around like who are the free agents who are out there right now, and he was a name that kind of like stood out to me and like every year, like a lot of my football knowledge comes from fantasy football. Um, like which I realize is not exactly the same thing as building a roster, but like I know he's like a solid tight end. Like he's like worthy of starting in fantasy football a lot of weeks, which is like not nothing. And I'm just curious to see where he ends up because I think like he's going to be a sneaky nice pickup for whoever ends up getting him. Like I'd like to see him go to like one of these up and coming teams. Like if he was like on the Panthers or something like that, like I think that would be an interesting fit. Um we'll see. Like he's not going to be that number one guy anywhere he goes, but like you want a tight end you can count on in the pass catching game. Like David Njoku's a solid pickup. I'm curious to see where he ends up.
Yeah, dude, he would be him on the Panthers would be great. Him on the Chiefs could be kind of wild. There's definitely some places that David Njoku would be really fun to see. Um, I'm gonna go away from the free agents that are available, and I don't know if you guys saw the trade or not the trade, the rule proposals that went through today. There were three additional rules put forth by NFL teams. There's two others that are irrelevant to this conversation, but there's one that is relevant, and it is the Cleveland Browns have put in a request to change the limit on teams' abilities to trade future picks, which is currently limited at 3 years out. You can only trade up to 3 years out. They are proposing that we change that to 5 years out. So in theory, a team could trade up to five first round picks. Um, this obviously would match more like basketball and some of these other sports where you can trade things that are quite a bit further out. But the reason I say that is because there are rumors that the reason they have not moved on from Miles Garrett is that they believe he is worth more than three first round picks, and teams simply don't have the ammunition to give it up. This is coming off the back of the greatest season of pass rushing history, where he broke the record for most sacks in a season. Should something like this go through, I genuinely wonder, is Miles Garrett on the move? Like, do we see the largest trade in NFL history almost immediately? Where is there a team out there who says we are 23 sacks away from being Super Bowl champions, right? Like, is Miles Garrett on the field the thing that gets us over? there's a number of teams who were in playoffs last year where I'm like, yeah, I think if Miles Garrett was on that team, maybe that playoff run looks different for them. Um, so that's who I've been keeping my eye on. That is one of the most interesting things I've seen is there is like I think direct correlation between the Browns being the team that proposed that rule change and this kind of wonky in and out, is he in, is he out, is he committed, is he not, Miles Garrett situation. Like I don't think that he wants to just sit on the Browns for his whole year or for his whole career and just kind of rot away in excellence. I think he wants to be on a team that wins games. And the Browns are telling the league, this is how we view him, right? Like we're trying to extend the trade limits so you guys can reach our asking price.
It's interesting because if you asked me, like, what team would be most likely to give up more than 3 first round picks in some kind of trade, I'd be like, oh, the Browns probably. That's irrelevant in this case, but like, yeah, I would be very curious to see what team would be because, like, look, Miles Garrett's awesome. I think any team would be lucky to have him. Is he 4, 5 first round picks awesome? Like, I don't know. Like, a that's that's counting on him to be good enough and like the team to be good enough for the next at least 4 years, with so that like doesn't really matter that you're giving up your 1st round pick. Like that's
I mean,
bold.
maybe so, unless you got teams out there who are like, hey, we've got 1 or 2 more open years for a Super Bowl chance.
Let's just
Maybe we go
put all the
all
chips
in.
in. Yeah.
Because, I mean, I
It
would sell my soul to win a Super Bowl every 4 to 5 years if that's the reset you need.
yeah, hey, I'd be very interested to see how that works out.
Yeah. If
He'd
the
look good in the
NFL
blue and gold.
decides, if, yeah, if the NFL decides to go NBA mode, that'd be on the pick trading. That would be pretty crazy. I didn't think I'd ever see something like that. But the most important thing about all these rule proposal changes is the Zach Charbonnet 2 point conversion. It lives. That rule proposal
We'll
change has
see.
been
That
withdrawn.
one doesn't matter.
That lives forever. Legitimate rule. But yeah, yeah. So players out there, but yeah, like you guys are saying, there's not too many. A lot of the marquee guys were snapped up as they usually are. I just gotta say, you know, if he wants to keep playing, I'd love to see Russell Wilson land somewhere. Keep him around, keep him in the league. He's not going to start anywhere, for God's sake. He might not even back up anywhere, for God's sake. But he, if he wants to be on a roster, somebody get him in there. I'd like to see him on a sideline with a clipboard and a headset. I want to see him. I want to see him uh, in full pads with a clipboard and an earpiece, and then, you know, throwing with the scout team during the week of practice, like his ridiculous self would always do. Um, but ultimately, it's time for the 1 day contract with Seattle and for him to go. But if he wants to sign somewhere, then someone should. Um, just keep him out there. Okay, so that'll bring us to our last segment of today's show, which is our Dingers and Stingers segment. If you are unfamiliar, this is the segment where we give you one good thing, one dinger, and one bad thing, one stinger from the world of sports for the week. So let us start with the bad and end with the good, as we always do. So let's start with the stingers, and let's start with Matt.
Yeah, my stinger, as much as we, just talked about this, I'm not gonna keep beating the drum. It's got to be these AJ Brown and Devontae rumors. To be honest, I don't like it. I see the argument for it, but I think that the Rams are in a unique position where one, I don't think AJ Brown is the piece that kind of gets us over the hump, but two, I don't think we're as cooked post Stafford as a lot of people think we are. I think Stafford is awesome and amazing, but I also do think that McVay's not going to just roll out some nobody. Like it's not going to be one of those situations. If the league opens up to 5 first round picks, I know another, number 9 who seems like he would fit perfectly in LA. I definitely could see, him using some of those picks to move up in a draft. I don't like the idea of giving up draft capital in a year where Matthew Stafford really this could be it. I don't think that we need that. I think that there's other holes on this roster we can fill, continuing to build out the depth and keep our options open. Um, yeah, and I like Devonte Adams. Like I don't like AJ Brown. I like Devonte Adams, and so I'd much rather keep Devonte Adams even if he's a little bit worse at this stage in his career than AJ Brown.
Yeah, totally. The you have to do the math if you're the Rams, right? Right now you have Devontae Adams, which is good vibes and good contributor, and then but the other side of the equation would be AJ Brown, which is potentially good vibes, maybe if he stays happy, but if he doesn't, then it's bad vibes and maybe a little better, but I don't think the scales weigh out right in that case. Okay, so Stingers, let's continue with Drew.
Well, it's the moment we've been waiting for.
Dude, I'm
Um,
so excited. I don't know what this is.
my stinger
I
is
couldn't
that
even fathom
Fox Sports has announced AI Colin Coward. So here's how
it
it
would be
works.
Fox.
This is what I know. I mean, that's who he works for. Um,
Right.
so Colin Coward, if you're not familiar, he's a sports radio host. He has his radio show that's like also broadcast on Fox Sports One or whatever during the day. Um, and look, I don't hate Colin Coward. I think there is value to shows like that. I don't think you should
Yeah.
get your takes from these people, but like I have no problem. Like I'll watch it to get some basketball news and like some like I just like to hear some thoughts here and there. Um, but here's the problem. They have this new AI. Uh, Here's what the tweet says. Introducing Sports AI with Colin Coward, now live in the Fox Sports app. I don't have this app, so I can't like look into it, but built on years of takes from the herd and powered by real-time data, it delivers instant answers in Colin's voice. So here's what I'm gathering. You can like ask fake AI Colin Coward a question about sports and it will generate in his voice and maybe even his face, I don't know, um, a take. That's like supposedly what he would think. And this is the absolute like, okay, first of all, if you're going to Colin Coward for takes already, wrong. Incorrect. You're in the wrong
Right.
place. You got to like learn to think for
Right.
yourself a little bit more. Um, Secondly, if you're asking AI for takes, lazy, boring. That is not a good use of our technology. It's
Right.
not a good use of our water supply. I could go on. Combining those things, this might be the worst abomination I've ever heard of in my life. Who's asking for this? Here's the top tweet in reply is someone posted a screenshot of a Twitter search that says I want AI Colin Coward and it says no results. Like no one's asking for this. No one wants this. It's just more, AI slop being forced down our throats. And this is like the worst I've seen yet. Like I'm trying to imagine the person that's using this and I'm just disappointed that this person might exist.
I can't
Um,
believe this is real. I just went on the app. This is insane.
if that's you and you're not just Matt checking it out of curiosity, reevaluate your life and stop using it. Okay?
Stop doing it.
Like I don't love the use of AI in general, but like this is a new level of lazy and stupid. So let's get it out of here.
No good. No good. Um, wow. Yeah, that's crazy. I'd be interested to see what that.
You guys want to know what Colin Coward thinks about if Miami's gone too far in this teardown?
Oh my God.
I think that would kind of like destroy everything I just said. I don't want to hear.
Right, 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 right. We can't feed into it. We can't feed into it.
Because let me tell you, it's
But
not what Colin Coward thinks. It's what
right.
a computer program using an amalgam of his past thoughts thinks.
Yeah, it's just a copy of a copy of a copy at a certain point, and it's no good.
And like,
And
I'd be
so
shocked
yes, it'll
if
be
there
fine.
isn't like if I go on YouTube right now and search Colin Coward Jalen Waddle trade, I bet there's like 3 hours worth of content on it. So like,
Right,
like I already
right,
know.
Or just be a
right.
man, buy a cameo, and ask him the question yourself.
Yeah, yeah,
Exactly.
like our forefathers.
Yes, like it should be, like the way that it should be done.
The way sports
Um,
was meant to be done.
exactly, exactly. Um, okay, so beyond the the horrible thing that is AI, Colin Cowherd, let's end with the good here and let's go to our dingers. So let's go back to Matt and give us your dinger for the week. What's a good thing from sports this week?
Yeah, dude. Today I had this really fun encounter with one of my coworkers at school, one of the PE teachers, where she was telling me about how her dad played football at APU back in the 80s, and I was like, dude, APU in the 80s. Granted, I know exactly one player ever who's come out of APU, and I happen to know he played in the 80s. And I was like, ain't no way he played with Christian Okoye, right? And she was like, oh, I don't know. Let me ask. My dad did say my brother's named after one of his best friends named Christian. And I was like, sure. And so she texted her family group chat and was like, hey, is Christian named after this guy, Christian Okoye? And apparently that's like her dad's best friend. And she had no idea that this is just like a famous Hall of Fame running back. And I was explaining to her, this is like the first football life on NFL Network memory I have was like being at home watching football life and it's like the Nigeria nightmare and it's like my dad coming out and he's like, yeah, this is football, this is what football was supposed to be, and I'm just like, yeah, dude, it's pretty sick actually. And now it's just like he's just like a friend of my coworker and I'm like, man, that's cool. I love when little connections like that are made.
We can all now start playing 6 Degrees of Christian Okoye. Like we can all. I want you to find out, you viewer out there. I want you to find out how many degrees separated you are from Christian Okoye.
Let me ask Colin Coward.
How many degrees separated is Colin Cowherd from Christian Okoye? That's what I want to know. Okay, so yeah, that's cool. This world is smaller than we think, and we all come into contact with people who have brushes with some of our most iconic and favorite NFL individuals, no question. So yeah, that is cool. When a small world moment like that hits. All right, so Drew, let's get your dinger for the week to end this out.
All right, yeah, my dinger of the week. It's back to the baseball world. We had a very exciting World Baseball Classic,
Oh yeah,
and a big part of that was Red Sox players. They went off. Roman Anthony had
facts.
a great tournament. Willie Abreu had a great tournament. Masataka Yoshida, Jaron Duran, Ceddanne Rafaela, like a lot of guys for the Red Sox showed out, and it was really exciting and a lot of fun to watch. And if you want to know more about that tournament in general, check out our baseball episodes.
Oh yeah. We talked about the tournament all tournament long. We talked about it on this week's MLB show, the elimination round, a little bit. Go ahead and give those a listen if you want full WBC breakdown thoughts. But yeah, those Red Sox players, it seemed like every game that I had on, I look up and there's a Red Sox player putting up a highlight, whether it's, Jaron Duran hitting a couple tanks in a game for Mexico, or, if it's, Roman Anthony, he hit a homer, for USA, that was huge. And, the list goes on, but, those guys really showed up for not only their countries, but you think about all those guys now, yeah, they're going to go all play for the same team now, and it's going to be interesting to see how they all fit together, and if they can keep up to start the year. So that'll be good. But Okay, so that'll do it for this week's NFL episode of Dingers and Stingers. We appreciate you for watching. Thank you for listening. You can subscribe to us here on YouTube. You can go subscribe to us on Spotify, and you can listen to us there if you prefer audio only as well. And like this video, share it around if I didn't already say that, and let us know in the comments what you think about free agency wave 2. Not the at the top it was splashy, but there's a lot of underrated moves that could make little impacts over the course of the season that we'd love to hear your thoughts on. So let us know what you think about some of these moves, and let us know your dingers and stingers for the week. We'd love to hear that as well. But until the next time we talk at you, take care, and we will talk to you then. Goodbye.
Bye.
Doses.